Welcome, Aries. If you're hearing this voice right now, believe me, it's not a coincidence. There's a deeper reason you were guided here to this exact moment in time, because the universe is preparing to hand you a gift. Not something you've been chasing, but something you're finally ready to receive. You might not see it yet, but its energy is already moving quietly beneath the surface, like underground water waiting for the perfect moment to rise. Today, I only ask one thing of you. Listen not with your mind, but with your heart, because this message doesn't come from me, it comes through me, from a place your soul has always known. And if you're ready, let's step into the first part of this journey, the sacred awakening. You didn't arrive here by chance. Aries, if you're hearing these words right now, it means your soul has been guided to the right place at the right time. Not by chance, not by coincidence, but by a quiet arrangement of the universe, like the moment when a single petal falls perfectly onto a still lake and the water ripples outward endlessly. How long has it been since you stopped? Really stopped to take a deep breath and ask yourself, why am I here in this exact moment of my life? Your life, Aries, isn't a random series of events. Every setback, every heartbreak, every goodbye that once felt meaningless, they're all part of a sacred map your soul agreed to walk through. It's the path of initiation, where every crack in your heart becomes a doorway for the light to enter. Maybe you've been tired, so tired that you thought about letting go. Maybe you've asked why everything has felt so heavy. But sometimes, the universe isn't silent because it's forgotten you. It's silent because it's preparing you for a moment of awakening. A moment when every piece suddenly falls into place and you finally understand. So this is why it all had to happen. In the teachings of the Buddha, it is said, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. But sometimes that teacher isn't another person. It's the loss you survived, the challenges that broke you open, the long nights when you thought you couldn't endure another day. They were never punishments, they were lessons, sent to awaken a strength you didn't know lived within you. Let me tell you something, Aries. Your scars are not signs of weakness, they are sacred proof that you survived. They are the marks of a soul that has walked through darkness and learned what light truly means. Only those who have faced the night can recognize the dawn. Now, something around you is changing, quietly but deeply, like the wind whispering through the morning trees. You can feel it, a gentle pull, a silent calling from within your heart. It's a sign that your awakening has begun. You don't need to force it. You don't need to do anything grand. Just be present, just listen. Just trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. In this stillness, imagine an invisible hand resting softly on your shoulder, not to push you forward, but to remind you you're not alone. Every soul has its moment to bloom, and maybe this is yours. Think about the little signs you've seen lately, a chance encounter, a song that played at just the right time, a dream that woke you up with your heart racing. The universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in whispers through moments like these. Do you sense it, that quiet message, that subtle feeling that something is about to change? If you do, don't rush to explain it. Let it sink in, like the first light of dawn slipping through the curtains. Just trust that something far greater is moving behind the simplest moments of your life. And if you've ever had one of those moments when you just knew deep down, this can't be a coincidence, share it, because sometimes your story becomes the light that guides someone else through their own darkness. And as that light begins to spread, Aries, something inside you awakens, a force that will no longer let you stand still. Like a small flame flickering in the wind, it whispers, act. Because this awakening isn't meant only to make you understand, it's meant to make you move. And the moment you begin, the world around you begins to move too. There are moments in life when we stand still for a long time, right in front of the door to everything we've ever wanted. Our hand already touches the handle, but we can't quite turn it. On the other side, there might be freedom or risk. But one thing is certain, if we never turn that handle, we'll never know what was waiting for us beyond it. The ancients used to say, 1,000 thoughts are worth less than a single action. In Buddhism, that is the wisdom of impermanence. Everything changes every second, every breath. One more day of thinking, one more night of hesitation. And sometimes the door quietly closes forever, not because you weren't worthy, but because life doesn't wait for those who keep waiting. I know you've thought a lot. You've made plans, written down goals, told yourself you'll begin when everything feels ready. But the truth is, the perfect moment doesn't exist. Life is always unfinished, always messy, always full of reasons to postpone. And yet it's often when we dare to move through the chaos that we finally touch the miracle we've been searching for. Do you remember the first time you learned to ride a bike? None of us waited until the fear was gone. We climbed on, trembling, fell down, scraped our knees, then stood back up and tried again. That moment when you moved even while shaking, that's what true courage looks like. As the wise say, courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you act while you still are. Look back at the milestones in your life. How many of them happened when you felt ready? Or did they appear the moment you decided to stop waiting and start moving? Maybe it was the day you finally sent that job application. Maybe it was when you walked away from a relationship that no longer felt right. Or simply when you found the strength to say, I need to be heard. Every one of those moments was a declaration. I am alive and I choose. The instant you take action, your energy shifts. You send a powerful message to the universe that you are ready to receive what is meant for you. And the world responds. With opportunities, with people, with paths you never saw coming. Action is the extended hand of faith. When you move forward, the path unfolds beneath your feet. So if there's something you've been delaying, a dream, a truth, a change you know is calling your name, take this as your sign. The universe is waiting for you to step forward. Even the smallest action today could become the first chapter of a brand new story in your life. Write in the comments what you're ready to take action on, even if it's just one small step. When you write it down, you're not only making a promise to yourself, you're planting a seed into reality, a seed of movement, of courage, of freedom. And then, when your heart has decided and your feet have begun to move, life will meet you with crossroads. Each path opens like a mirror to your soul, one side safe, the other true. But remember, what matters most isn't where you end up. It's the road you choose to walk that still makes you feel truly alive with every breath you take. Sometimes life brings us to a quiet crossroads, a place with no noise, no signs, no directions. Only the sound of our own soul. On one side is the old road, familiar, predictable, safe. You know every turn, every boundary that keeps you comfortable. On the other side lies the new, bright but uncertain, beautiful yet filled with risk. You don't know where it will lead. Only that if you don't move, your heart will never be at peace. It's said that the Buddha taught, the root of suffering is attachment. But there's another truth, softer yet just as profound. The fear of change is also a form of attachment. We cling to what we know even when it hurts us. We fear letting go, turning away, beginning again. But then there are nights when we lie still in the dark and hear our heart whisper, if this path were truly mine, why does it feel so heavy? Perhaps you're standing in that very moment now between two paths of your soul. One promises certainty, the other burns with fire. One is what others expect of you. The other is the quiet, persistent voice of your heart. And you know that voice has never been silent. It's only been waiting for your courage to finally listen. We've been taught to chase stability, to believe happiness lives in safety. But is that truly living or merely surviving inside a golden cage? It's warm, yes, but small, because the right path is rarely the easy one. It's the one that makes you feel alive. I've seen people who dared to choose differently, those who left prestigious jobs to start over from nothing, those who ended perfect relationships because their hearts knew love couldn't breathe behind a mask. And strangely, they didn't fall apart. They bloomed. They became radiant, peaceful, whole, needing no one's approval but their own. There is a sacred power that awakens when we choose from the heart instead of fear. In that moment, the universe stops testing you and begins guiding you. Doors you thought were closed begin to open. People you were meant to meet suddenly appear. And the path ahead, once uncertain, starts glowing beneath every brave step you take. If you're facing a choice right now, place your hand over your heart. Don't ask, is this safe? Ask, is this true? Because life doesn't reward those who choose what's easy, it rewards those who dare to be honest with themselves. You were not born to live comfortably. You came here to live consciously, to listen to the voice of your soul and follow it, no matter how small the whisper. Because each time you choose truth over fear, the world around you shifts. The light moves, doors open, and you become brighter, truer, more alive. I invite you to share in the comments a moment when you made a difficult choice, not because it was easy, but because it was right. Because sometimes a single story of courage can give another soul the strength to change. And at those crossroads, when you finally walk in rhythm with your heart, something extraordinary happens. You no longer feel alone, because you realize on the true path there is always someone walking beside you, not to complete you, but to reflect the light within you. And in that moment, as your heart opens, love begins to enter, soft as a breath, yet deep as an ancient prayer. Love, a word that seems so simple, yet so few of us have ever sat quietly and asked, am I really loving myself? Because in this life, so many people search for love as if it were light, forgetting that the lamp has been inside their own heart all along. I once met a woman who had spent her entire life making others happy. She was a mother, a wife, a devoted co-worker, always giving, always strong, always saying, I'm fine. But in her eyes there was a small emptiness, a place she had never entered to ask, am I truly fine? One day she told me, I've realized you can't pour water from an empty cup. And that simple sentence has stayed with me ever since. In Buddhist philosophy, there is a truth as gentle as it is powerful. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give love, forgiveness, or peace if inside you are running dry. We grow up in a world that teaches us to sacrifice, to love others deeply, but few ever teach us that the very first and most sacred form of love must begin with ourselves. If you've ever been hurt in love, maybe it wasn't because the other person wasn't enough, but because you forgot to love yourself first. When you don't see your own worth, you'll accept relationships that make you small. When you don't respect yourself, you'll stay in places that hurt you. And when you don't know how to hold yourself, you'll always wait for someone else to do it for you. But then, one day, something shifts. You begin to look at yourself with softer eyes and everything changes. You wake up, make a cup of coffee, sit by the mirror and smile, not for anyone, but simply because you deserve to feel at peace. You stop saying, I have to, and start saying, I choose to. You stop chasing love because now love begins to chase you. I remember the first time I truly learned to love myself. It wasn't a joyful burst, it was a slow unfolding. At times it was lonely. At times it came with tears. I learned to forgive myself for mistakes I couldn't change. I learned to stop speaking harshly to my reflection. I learned to stop comparing, stop performing, stop seeking approval in places that could never give it. And then one day I noticed. The world started treating me differently too. When you begin treating yourself as something sacred, the world begins to see you that way as well. Self-love isn't vanity. It's the foundation of every healthy connection. Because from that love, you learn boundaries. You learn what real kindness means. You love others not to fill a void, but to share your wholeness. You give not because you lack, but because you overflow. So this week, do one small thing to love yourself. Maybe it's spending a morning without rushing. Maybe it's finally reading that book you've been putting off. Maybe it's turning off your phone early, letting your mind rest. Or maybe it's as simple as saying to yourself, I'm trying and I'm proud of me. If you'd like, write in the comments one thing you'll do for yourself this week. Not to show off, but to send loving energy into the world. Because sometimes one small act of self-kindness becomes a quiet reminder to someone out there that they too are worthy of love. And when your heart opens, when self-love begins to radiate from within, something miraculous happens. Your energy shifts, like a still lake touched by the moonlight. Everything around you begins to reflect that same softness. Money, opportunities, relationships, joy, they all begin to flow toward you. As if the universe itself is whispering, finally, you are ready to receive. And in that glow, a new rhythm of life begins to form, where love and abundance are no longer two separate rivers, but one gentle current, flowing naturally into your life, as effortlessly as breath itself. Sometimes, after years of trying, after countless nights when you thought you couldn't go on, you wake up one quiet morning and realize the very thing you once prayed for is now here. It doesn't arrive with thunder or fireworks, but with the stillness of a flower blooming right on time. Miracles often come that way, softly, quietly. A stable job after months of uncertainty, a person who restores your faith in kindness, a bit of unexpected money that lets you breathe again. Sometimes happiness doesn't make noise, it simply smiles once you've learned how to trust. There's a gentle truth in the rhythm of life. When we give, we plant the seed. But when we learn to receive, we blossom. Many of us are good at giving but uncomfortable with receiving. We say, "Oh, you don't have to," or "I'm fine," or "Don't worry about me." We fear being a burden, being misunderstood, or losing the image of strength we've built. But in doing so, we unknowingly reject the very blessings the universe is trying to send. Learning to receive isn't weakness, it's an act of gratitude. When someone gives you a compliment, a flower, or an opportunity, they're sending you a vibration of love. And when you smile and open your heart to accept it, you're not just receiving a gift, you're allowing love to keep flowing through the world. This is your season of harvest. All your efforts, your late nights, your quiet tears, they've turned into sweetness. The universe is saying, it's time, take it. You no longer need to fight or prove yourself. Just open your hands and let life pour its blessings into your palms. You've earned this peace. You've earned the right to rest. I know it's not always easy. When you've spent years carrying everything alone, being cared for can feel unfamiliar. But remember this, you too deserve softness. You've carried enough. You deserve to be held, to breathe, to exhale without fear. Imagine your life as a garden you've tended with devotion. Now it's time to sit among the flowers, take a deep breath, and enjoy the fragrance of what you've grown. You don't need to keep planting just to prove your worth. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop, smile, and whisper, "I did well." If you're hearing this, close your eyes for a moment and say softly to yourself, "I allow abundance to flow through me easily and naturally." It may sound simple, but that affirmation holds deep healing power, because in the instant you allow, your resistance dissolves and the current of blessings begins to move. Write that affirmation in the comments, not for me, but for yourself. I allow abundance to flow through me easily and naturally. When thousands of souls speak those words together, the world grows a little warmer and human hearts open just a little wider. But remember, even the lushest garden needs pruning. Only when old branches are cleared can sunlight reach the hidden buds below. Life is the same. Sometimes we must release, clean, and leave behind what no longer grows with us. And in the quiet breath of early morning, when the dew still clings to the leaves, you'll understand one sacred truth. Only when you clear the old garden can miracles find space to bloom. Again, there are things in life that never truly disappear, they simply change form. Just like autumn doesn't die, it only steps aside so winter can arrive. Just like a candle doesn't cease to exist when it goes out, its light has simply been borrowed to illuminate another place. In this moment, as you stand still amid the shifting seasons of your life, you may feel like you're at the end of something. The end of a relationship, a job, an old dream, or even an old version of yourself. But through the eyes of the soul, nothing ever truly ends. Everything transforms. Every ending is a doorway, and you, Aries, are standing right before one. It's often said we repeat what we haven't healed. Maybe you've noticed a pattern, a kind of person, a kind of emotion, a kind of situation that keeps returning. No matter how much you try to change your surroundings, you somehow end up in the same place, feeling hurt, feeling left behind, feeling like you must be strong all over again. But that's not life punishing you, it's life patiently teaching you how to let go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. Letting go means looking back, smiling softly and saying, "Thank you. Thank you to the one who left for teaching you how to stay with yourself. Thank you to loss for reminding you of the beauty in what remains. Thank you to pain for opening the door to compassion." Forgiveness works the same way. It doesn't rewrite the past, but it frees the future. When you forgive, you're not denying what happened, you're simply choosing not to let it define you anymore. You open your hands and let the old threads untie from your heart. And in that moment, your soul becomes light, like the final leaf of autumn falling gently, not to vanish, but to make room for the seeds of spring. I know it's not easy. We cling to memories as if they were safe harbors, forgetting that no ship can set sail without leaving the dock. But then, one morning, you look out your window and realize the wind has changed. There's a whisper in the air, an invitation to close the old chapter, so you can begin the next one of your story. If you've ever lived through an ending that broke you open but ultimately made you wiser, share it in the comments below. Because maybe, just maybe, your story will be the small light that helps someone else find their way through their darkness. Sometimes, endings don't come to take something away, they come to give something back, to return your freedom, to return you to yourself, the version of you that got lost in the trying and the holding on. And when you finally release your grip, you'll hear it, that quiet, miraculous sound, the universe exhaling, in peace with you. Because no ending is ever random. Every closed door is written into the architecture of your soul. And when one chapter closes, if you pause and listen, you'll feel the breeze slipping through the crack, carrying the scent of hope, the fragrance of beginnings, and a tender whisper that says, everything is about to change. And in that stillness, Aries, as the past dissolves like morning mist under the rising sun, the unimaginable, the miracle you've been waiting for, begins to take shape, softly, brightly, truly. There comes a moment in life when you no longer have to try so hard. No more proving, no more chasing, no more holding on to things that aren't meant to stay. Everything begins to fall naturally into place, like a river finding the sea, like clouds finding the sky. And in that quiet, sacred moment, you realize that the impossible dream you once longed for is slowly becoming real. All the things that once made you doubt yourself, the waiting, the pain, the near falls, were never punishments. They were stepping stones. Every closed door wasn't rejection. It was protection, shielding you from what wasn't ready or worthy yet. Every loss didn't come to extinguish your faith, but to teach you how to believe deeper, not in the outcome, but in the journey itself. You once feared losing, feared being forgotten, feared that what you gave would never be enough. But then, the universe placed a gentle hand on your shoulder and whispered, what you once feared losing was never truly yours. And what is truly yours will never leave. Everything you've endured has been spiritual training, preparing your soul to receive the blessings now making their way to you. And now, everything is shifting. But this time, you're not afraid. You've learned to trust time, to trust silence, to trust the divine rhythm of life, where nothing ever arrives too soon or too late, but always right on time. You no longer seek miracles, because Aries, you have become a living testament to faith and resilience. Maybe you feel lighter now, as if a great weight has finally lifted from your shoulders. Maybe your smile today feels different, not the kind that hides pain, but the kind that says thank you. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for walking forward even when your knees trembled. Because in that very choice, the choice to keep going, you unknowingly open the door to the extraordinary. Take a moment now, breathe deeply, and let your heart feel this truth. Look back at the path you've walked, the storms, the lonely nights, the whispered prayers soaked in tears. Every word, every ache, every hope has been heard. And now the answer is here. Not in thunder, not in lightning, but in the quiet peace now spreading through your soul. If you feel this resonance within you, leave an affirmation in the comments, a mark of your soul's readiness. I am ready to receive everything the universe has prepared for me. Or share a moment from your life when you realized miracles are real, because every story of light shared here will guide 1,000 hearts still searching in the dark. You've walked through fire, through tears, through faith tested over and over again. And now, you stand at the sacred intersection of ending and beginning, between silence and miracle. Everything you've ever waited for is moving toward you now, naturally, effortlessly, just as the universe intended. And as the dawn of your new destiny breaks, remember, you no longer need to hold on. Just open your heart, because miracles are not meant to be chased, they are meant to be received. Thank you, Aries, for allowing me to walk beside your energy, to witness your strength, your fears, your growth. May peace find its way into your home, clarity into your mind, and abundance flowing like a gentle stream into your heart. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and everything good is already on its way.